we were just talking about.
A yacht approaching or unable to clear an obstruction without fouling or endangering another yacht may signal the other yacht for room to clear. The signaled yacht shall at once give room, and if it is necessary for her to tack or jibe, the signaling yacht shall also tack or jibe immediately thereafter. Basically, if you need to tack or jibe to avoid an obstruction, and you ask the other boat to get out of your way, you can't then decide, maybe I can make it past that. And see you later. You then need to tack or jibe as well, because you asked for it.
Does it have to be a marked obstruction, or what about like
Any obstruction.
like an ice seam or something?
Exactly.
A heave,
Fishing
a
dock.
hole, a fishing shanty,
Another
a
day sailor.
ride boat.
I just wonder if there's
You know,
any
they say-
debate, like what might be an obstruction for one boat might not be considered for another. I mean,
The person who
I'd-
calls for it, it's an obstruction, once the person who calls for it,
Yeah,
so it's that person's
It's a
decision.
done deal.
Yeah.
it's done deal, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
done
helpful.
deal.
And it's-
that call is usually just signaling
Yep.
with your, getting their attention, they
yeah, right.
should be able to figure it out, okay?
And not with one finger only.
Jimmy, don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a seam.
This is a good example. Frantic is not a bad, is,
If you read it carefully too, the boat that you signal, maybe that boat is on starboard, you're on starboard, and you need to tack, and you call for the tack, he doesn't have to tack if he's sure and he wants to keep clear of you.
Yeah.
But if it's necessary to avoid a collision, he has to. Safety-wise, he probably ought to do it and not take the risk. It's a bad decision to be wrong.
Jim, when you find yourself approaching an obstruction, do you give yourself a stand, but in case that doesn't, give you clearance? You know, just
Depends on the
sail above.
instruction, you could totally luff up and just go, oh crap. And,
Okay. That's what I'm, from a safety
you're
standpoint.
gonna avoid a collision no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah, from a safety standpoint,
Yeah, if he's not paying attention and you gotta do something.
got it.
The most common one is really making a judgment on just how much too close you are to the shore. I can remember lots of times sailing up the west end of Delavan, and you're gonna, the lead guy out there that started at the end of the line is gonna be the first guy that gets to where he's getting into rough stuff and heaves, cracks, or rocks, or the point, and he needs to tack out, and you're coming over his shoulder, and it's his judgment whether he's too close. You might say, I can get it even further, but once the guy who's closest to the
Really
shore
important.
says, I think I got to tack, you got to tack.
And it can happen on big ice too, it happened at the Nationals last year with the fleet. We got up to the shore a little bit, and people were signaling for tacking, and it went well, people made it apparent, and so.
Is a right-of-way yacht considered an obstruction? For purposes of signaling?
The definition of obstruction is anything you can't safely sail over. So, if you
Stay over.
if you can't safely sail over another DN, then it's an
So
obstruction.
port starboard situation, you got another port tackers, and you have to tack. Is the starboard tacker an obstruction? I would say, yeah. Yeah. You got to be able to ask those other guys to tack. They can't say, well, I'm not going to hit him. You hit him. I'll wait till you hit him, and then I'll go. Yeah, no, that's an obstruction.
Is a signal required in that situation?
I would think it would be, yeah.
But that same boat that's on port, who finds a starboard obstruction, if he can duck that obstruction, that's what he needs to do.
And then he wouldn't signal.
He can only signal if that's the only option to avoid a collision.
But a signal is not a requirement. A signal is optional. According to the rule, it says may signal the other yacht.
but
May
probably a
is-
really good
may is
idea.
optional.
Yeah.
It's good to make people aware of ducks
Wouldn't
sitting on the
you
ice.
be wild?
Yeah, that's the frantic time.